Okay. So, what is it exactly that you do?
I am the co-president of WMPH Vacations.
Okay. And what types of writing do you typically do with your job? Like, what do you do the most?
The most is actually sending email communications to our management team and our cruise line partners.
Okay, and is this like the only way you communicate with them, or are there other through writing? Is there other like blogs or anything you do like that?
No, me personally, do most all of my communicating through email these days.
Okay. What uh what would you can when you write an email, how did you learn to write an email? Did you did anyone teach you, or is it just kind of trial and error?
Well, I write my emails. They're very structured, um, much like an old fashioned letter used to be. So I grew up writing letters, and I took that same approach to writing an email. So to me, an email is no different than a letter. It looks the same. It has a greeting. It has a signature. It has paragraphs. It's structured very much like an old fashioned letter.
Okay. And when you write like an email, do you structure like that? Is there hold up, I'm trying to like figure out how to word this. Um are there any other types of writing that have influenced that, like educational or anything like that?
Um, well, I mean, when I think back on school and you take a look at your basic five paragraph type letter, I do write a lot of educational type emails to the staff. I also write a lot of very persuasive emails, either to the staff or to a cruise line. So um, I think that's what you're asking. So in terms of learning how to write educational emails,
Yeah.
persuasive or letters, or persuasive letters, I incorporate that all the time into my writing.
Okay. Um what would you consider like a good email? Something like what would you classify it as? Like how well it communicates, or how would you consider an email well written, I guess?
Well, consider an email well written. The first thing that I look at, uh, right or wrong, is presentation. I want to know how it looks. I want to know there has to be enough white space. Again, there has to be a greeting. There has to be separation between thoughts or paragraphs. There has to be a closing. There has to be a sincerely yours or a thank you or a something, and then a full signature. So I really look at a professional email as something that is well structured and well spaced.
Okay.
I'm also attentive to grammar. So just like a letter, I think a good email has doesn't have abbreviations. It has commas where it needs commas. It has periods. Um, um, it doesn't have run-on sentences, etc. So it's grammatically correct. Um, and then as far as content is concerned, I think a good email is one that I can finish reading it, and understanding what the intent of the writer was, and that I understand what the next step is. So if an email is asking for action on my part, it's very clear on what that action should be.
Okay. Was it ever tough to communicate through email for you, or was it always pretty straightforward?
Um,
Like, do you ever have any problems with writing emails, or
um, no, in terms of me writing them again, to me it was nothing more than writing a letter in an electronic way.
okay? What about do you write out like when you have a meeting? Do you typically write what you're going to talk about in that meeting? Kind of like an outline, I guess you could say.
An agenda,
So you do make agendas.
I do make agendas frequently for if we're going to have meetings in a conference room or a meeting with a cruise line, a conference call. I'll make sure that I create an agenda and email that out to everybody prior to the meeting.
Okay. Um, Now, one of the topics we learned about in my ENC class, it's exigence, and it's basically like the driving force behind your writing, like why you write, and what kind of motivates you to write, I guess you could say. So would you say you have a certain exigence towards writing for work?
I do. Emotions, both good and bad. If we have a phenomenal day where we sell a lot of cruises, we were having just a great business day,
Yeah.
it motivates me to write positive emails to the management team, to individual agents that have had great performances. Conversely, if we've had a really bad day, that negative emotion will cause me to write messages to, again, the management team or individuals.
And when you typically write, so when you're in a meeting and you write the agenda, your audience would be your employees, right?
Or our business partners.
Or your business partners, okay. And when you write emails, who's your typical audience?
Typical audience would be our management team and our cruise line partners.
Okay, and your management team, what exactly do they do? Like, what branches do they have?
The management team that I work with would be sales,
Okay.
client services, our web marketing team, our IT group, and our finance group. Those are the 5 major groups that I communicate with pretty much daily.
Okay. Do you use, this is like kind of a funny question, do you use any like specific lingo? You know how with in like the medical field, doctors will say like 50 cc stat type of thing?
Right.
Do you use any like certain lingo that other people coming into your area wouldn't be familiar with?
We do. I think every industry has those words, right? So, yeah, the cruise industry, travel industry is no different. You looking for examples?
Yeah, kinda.
Well, let me look at an email because I'm sure I'll find plenty.
And then whenever you get the chance, if you could just send me one of the emails that's not too personal, that I can, because I have to include that.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be right now. It could be later. But I do need specific examples for the class.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. So one that I've sent, right?
Yeah, just like lingo you use. I don't really know what type of lingo you use.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Let's see. Well, in our marketing, we use things like CPC,
Okay.
cost per click, CPL, cost per lead.
Yeah. See, I had no clue about that. This is kind of also like a different question. What types of writing do you do for fun? Like more entertainment based rather than work? Like personal writing, actually. And this could be anything from texting to writing a grocery list.
Well, I like writing Valentine limericks.
That is true, so poetry. What about texting and things like that? You do that, I'm guessing, pretty often. You do.
Yeah, I do texting. Again, texting is not like writing to me.
It is a form of writing. That was also in our writing about writing textbook. We had
Right.
That's one of the genres.
Right. So I do enjoy texting. Is there a question there? Or?
No, I was just like I'm asking like what types of writing do you do outside work? I was just using texting as an example.
Yeah, so texting would certainly be probably the only one, and then again, writing those limericks once a year is about it, and then writing greeting cards. You know, birthdays come up pretty frequently, or mom always asks me to write all those. So
Okay. Very cool. What about going back to the lingo?
yeah.
You said things like CPC, and what exactly does that mean? Like, what's that abbreviation for?
Cost per click,
Okay.
and that has to do with advertising on Google. Let's see here. Do you want more examples that you're looking for?
Oh no, if you have some more, that'd be cool. But if not, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find a few here. That isn't that funny. I don't really think about that, but.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things you kind of just work up to over time. All right. Well, while you're looking at that, what about research for things? Like, how do you find out about new cruise ships that come out or things like that? Do you like, what are ways you find out? Do you read about them online or?
Yeah, I would say almost all of the information for the industry comes in online. We do have trade publications like Travel Weekly. We call them trade, industry publications.
Okay.
They're called trade publications. So every industry you'll have some magazine that kind of is specific to that industry. So for ours, it's trade magazines, and then and again online, a lot of email, a lot of certain cruise related websites.
And do you ever write like almost like a review about the ships or things you liked and didn't like?
Yeah, our company does.
You don't specifically do it?
But I don't specifically do it, no.
Do you give people, do you ever help out with it, like give them the information, or when you go on a ship, and when you come back off it, do you give like reviews back to the cruise line? How does that work?
No, I, like when Mom and I went to Tahiti,
Yeah.
when I came back from the Pago Gan, yeah, I took agents through, what the experience was from the very beginning to the very end. So, but I didn't write anything down. It was more.
Yeah, I'm like more asking about how you figure out the information. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Genre. Okay. When you were younger, growing up, did you do a ton of writing through like middle? If you could think back all the way that time, did you ever do any writing like in middle school and high school that you carry to this day?
That I carry to this day, meaning I still have it.
No, like you still use it when you write. Like you were saying about how you used to write letters. Now when you write an email, you write it just like a letter. Is there anything else?
Correct. I mean, most of the writing as a younger child was work for school, but I did write a lot of letters. So I had a couple friends in North Dakota. I used to write. My grandma.
Oh, really?
Quite a bit, and you'd write a letter and you put it in an envelope and address it, put a postage stamp on it, put it in the mailbox, and it was a letter, and it would get there 3 days later, and then you'd get a letter back in 2 or 3 weeks from them, and it wasn't as instant as it is now, but I would write actually a fair amount of letters when I was a kid.
And then what college did you go to again?
University of Colorado.
University of Colorado. Did you have any professors there or anything like that shaped you as a writer?
Very much so.
Do you remember her specific name or she?
Boy, I don't remember the names.
It's
but,
fine. That's fine if you don't.
Yeah, but specifically, business writing.
Was that a class you had?
It was.
Really?
So my major was
Business.
business, and so business writing was much more to the point, bullet points. Again, very structured. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I tell you. I summarize.
It's kind of a neat course.
And yeah, to this day I write just like that. I write very structured, very short, very to the point. And it's because of that class that I had in college. Yeah.
It's very cool. I have another question. I can't think of it. History as a writer, discourse community. Do you read a lot outside those publications, like reading books for fun type of thing?
I do.
And does that help you towards writing at all, like reading literature?
Very much.
What does it help you with, specifically?
I think sentence structure, how to organize thoughts, how to organize sentences. I think that's primarily it, and also vocabulary. I think it helps improve my vocabulary by reading, and I use that vocabulary in my writing.
Do you do a lot of peer review? Like, do you look over other people's emails or letters they write to other companies type of thing?
I do. When agents are brand new, I like to review several emails that they send to their clients, and I critique them.
And do you sit down with them and kind of explain what they need to work on? And
I do. And I do.
So email is like everything there then?
Email is pretty much everything, yeah. So if a agent is sending an email to a client, again, the most important thing to me is presentation. So the biggest mistake agents make, they jumble all their words together on a page, and I got to get them to space everything out and make it look pretty.
Yeah.
Because people will think it's more professional. People will give it more credit, more credible.
Do you ever receive an email that you kind of just look at and don't like from other companies or something?
No, all the time.
And you see them and just the presentation isn't?
Yeah, if it doesn't look good, then I don't give it as much credibility. If it's not spaced correctly, if it's too jumbled together, if it's all capital letters, I dismiss it. I just delete it.
Does anyone look over your work? Like oof or anything?
No.
No? It's funny. Back to college. Was that one class the only class that helped you a lot with writing, or did you have like an ENC? My ENC class is basically just writing and like learning about us as writers and trying to discover. It's all writing. It's not literature at all.
Right.
We read a little bit, but then we like write responses on them. So, did you ever have a class like that kind of helped you besides that business class?
Creative writing. But again, that was more, more about the different kinds of writing that we were just talking about, right? Is it educational? Is it persuasive? That typical essay. That five paragraph introduction, conclusion with three pieces in the middle that whatever that I guess define what you're trying to say. So no, just to write a writing class for all kinds of writing. No, it was pretty much creative writing. Well, creative writing stories. But again, what you would write would be mostly essays.
Yeah, that's basically college.
Yeah. What's your email, T? Is it that's good? Which one do you want me to use?
Thomas just do Thomas Walker at knights.ucf.edu.
Oh, Thomas Walker, no spaces, no underscore.
No, at use at
Knights.
knights.ucf.edu.
Thomas Walker. Okay.
I'm kind of thinking I have everything here. I'm kind of trying to think of anything else I need to ask. Yeah, so this whole thing is a profile on you. And it's kind of like, in the Rolling Stones, when you read about an artist,
Right.
that's kind of what I'm writing on you right now. So I'm trying to think of other things that could help. But that seems like the bulk of it. And then down the line, we're going to have like another interview where I get a little more specific. But that's not going to be for a few more weeks.
Okay.
Okay, one moment.